Abraham Lincoln was not born into power, wealth, or privilege. He was born on February 12, 1809, in a small one-room log cabin in Hardin County, Kentucky, a place so poor and isolated that maps barely marked it. His parents, Thomas Lincoln and Nancy Hanks Lincoln, were farmers struggling simply to survive. America at that time was still young, wild, and dangerous. Life on the frontier meant hard labor, sickness, and constant uncertainty. Lincoln's childhood was shaped by hardship. The family moved frequently, searching for better land. When Abraham was just 9 years old, his mother died from milk sickness, a disease caused by drinking contaminated cow's milk. The loss deeply affected him. People who knew him later said he never forgot that pain. He had almost no formal education. In total, Lincoln attended school for less than 1 year in his entire life. There were no proper teachers, no classrooms, and often not even books. But he possessed something far more powerful: an intense hunger to learn. He borrowed books whenever he could find them. At night, after exhausting farm work, he read by the light of a fireplace. He studied the Bible, Aesop's fables, Robinson Crusoe, and the laws of the United States. He practiced writing on wooden boards because paper was too expensive. Slowly, through pure determination, he educated himself. As a young man, Lincoln worked many jobs. He was a rail splitter, cutting wood for fences. He worked as a store clerk. He became a postmaster, and later a surveyor measuring land. None of these jobs paid much, but each taught him discipline and responsibility. People began to notice his honesty. He refused to cheat customers, even walking miles to return a few pennies he once overcharged. Locals started calling him Honest Abe. In his 20s, Lincoln discovered public speaking. He loved debates and storytelling. He had a unique ability to explain complex ideas in simple language. Ordinary people understood him. They trusted him. He decided to enter politics. His first campaign for the Illinois state legislature ended in failure. He lost badly. But Lincoln did not quit. He ran again and won. During this time, he also began studying law. Without attending any law school, he read legal books independently and passed the bar exam. He became a lawyer and moved to Springfield, Illinois. In courtrooms, he developed a reputation not just for intelligence, but fairness. He would even refuse cases if he believed his client was dishonest. In 1842, he married Mary Todd, a well-educated woman from a respected Kentucky family. Their marriage was complicated, filled with both affection and tension. They had 4 sons, but tragedy struck repeatedly. 3 of their children died young. Personal grief followed Lincoln throughout his life and contributed to his deep melancholy. Lincoln served 1 term in the United States Congress in 1847. After that, his political career seemed finished. For years he returned to practicing law. Many believed his moment had passed. But America was changing. The nation was becoming dangerously divided over one issue: slavery. Southern states depended on enslaved labor for their agricultural economy. Northern states increasingly opposed its expansion. The country was no longer just arguing about policy. It was arguing about morality, human rights, and the meaning of freedom. In 1854, the Kansas-Nebraska Act allowed slavery to expand into new territories. This outraged Lincoln. He returned to politics with renewed purpose. He began delivering powerful speeches against the spread of slavery. He did not initially call for immediate nationwide abolition, but he firmly believed slavery was morally wrong and should not grow further. In 1858, Lincoln ran for the U.S. Senate against Stephen A. The two men held a series of famous public debates. Lincoln warned that America could not survive permanently divided between free states and slave states. Lincoln lost the Senate election, but something unexpected happened. Newspapers printed his speeches across the country. Americans who had never heard of him now knew his name. 2 years later, in 1860, he ran for President of the United States. He was not the favorite. He was not wealthy. He was not from a powerful political dynasty. Yet his humble background, clear moral position, and powerful communication resonated with voters in the North. Lincoln won the presidency. The reaction was immediate. Before he even took office, 7 southern states announced they were leaving the United States. The Confederate States of America. They feared Lincoln would eventually end slavery. In March 1861, Lincoln became president of a nation already collapsing. Just weeks later, Confederate forces attacked Fort Sumter in South Carolina. The American Civil War had begun. It would become the deadliest war in American history. Lincoln faced enormous pressure. The Union Army suffered early defeats. Many criticized him as inexperienced and weak. Generals failed him repeatedly. Political leaders argued constantly. Newspapers attacked him daily. Yet Lincoln showed remarkable resilience. He spent nights in the War Department telegraph office reading battlefield updates personally. He visited wounded soldiers in hospitals. He replaced generals who would not fight aggressively. Slowly, he found leaders he trusted, including Ulysses S. Grant. But Lincoln believed the war was about more than preserving the Union. He realized the deeper cause was slavery itself. In 1863, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation. This historic order declared that enslaved people in Confederate territories were free. It did not immediately free every enslaved person, but it changed the meaning of the war forever. The Civil War was no longer only about saving the nation. It became a fight for human freedom.